Wanadhani asibongolala.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Wanadhani asibongolala.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Wambie punde imechoka sana.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Wambie punde imechoka sana.
Tumejamu sijifanye uja notice.
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
My people, breaking news. See, USA wanajisikia sukari. So USA has gone ahead and said they are going to cut the ties to any country that are allies with China, most especially Kenya. You won't believe. Let me break for you down the reason as to why Donald Trump is really bitter and against Kenya right now. Anyway, President William Ruto and France had a deal. And remember, to this point, France and USA are like this. They are very great allies. They are friends. So President William Ruto, when they had a deal with France, I think they didn't come into an agreement because of the terms and conditions of France, Emmanuel Macron. So President William Ruto decided to shift from France to China. And this is what is pissing off Donald Trump so much. Why is all African countries shifting from France to China, shifting from the USA to China? And remember, to this point, most of the African countries are under superpower countries like Russia, North Korea, and China. And this is what Donald Trump is feeling like. Why are Africans all of a sudden wakening up? And he has gotten to a point and said, any African countries that are allies with their enemies, they are their enemies. So this is the reason as to why he has given a warning to Kenya government. I think you've gotten it, because I think you've gotten the news all over the internet, but most of you don't understand the reason as to why the United States has decided to announce that. So that's the biggest reason. So that is the biggest reason. Yeah, you got me right. Aluta.
Hey guys. Enyewe me I'm wondering, Kasongo what is up to na country ya Kenya, kwa sababu we love our country. I personally love my country and I'm proud being a Kenya. But ile kitu Kasongo anafanya inanishangaza, because now tumekuwa na issue outside Kenya. Sasa the other day uliona ni Sudan, haya Kosovo, and right now ni United States of America. Because unakumbuka, okay, me I'm not fan of America, but unakumbuka last year there is an agreement yenye Ruto alikuwa amealikwa a state visit in America, and there is several agreement they made whereby Ruto anafaa stick with that according to the agreement yenye alimeka tu kuambio ni gani hizo. And right now unaona alienda China, and kwenda China not just alignment to China or trade partner, but co-architect of the new world order. Akaenda kato hizo speech. Hizo speech zime touch sana America. And next thing America wameanza wakasema wata revisit. And next thing wana discuss Kasongo kwa parliament yao. But sasa America is a superpower. China is a superpower. Who are we? And mbona tunaingilia vita zao wawili? Sasa tumeachwa wapi? You know, I don't know what is the vision of Kasongo na Kenya, but I'm just worried in one way or the other. What's going on? And nini anataka?
Juzi nimemwambia mambo ilikuwa inafanyika huko United Kingdom. Lakini sasa nataka ushare na mtu wako Amerika, kwa sababu na nyinyi hamuna bahati. Na hii wacha nikwambie, ita affect kila mtu ambaye anapokeaga pesa kutoka Amerika. Kwa sababu Donald Trump ambaye ni president wa Amerika na chama yake ya Republic wanasema muna limit pesa mingi sana kutoka Amerika kuleta kwenu nchi yenu. Yaani muna limit pesa mingi kutoka Amerika kuja Kenya. Kulingana na ripoti ya CBK, last year mulituma Wakenya wale wako nje nchi walituma over 600 billion Kenya shillings, of which half of that money zilikuwa limited from Kenyans living in America. So Donald Trump anasema hiyo pesa mnatuma na hamuinvest America, ataanza kukata share yake. Na hapo anasema aje? Anasema kila pesa unatuma 5% mtakuwa mnampea. So out of 357 billion ile mlituma last year, 19 billion Donald Trump anazitaka. Furthermore to this, itakuwa na impact kubwa ikiwa wewe ni mtu wa kwa America na uko na project huku Kenya. Inamaanisha the cost of that project itaenda juu. The same na wale wana support familia zao. Ile kitu mlikuwa mnapata ya support from your fellows from America, nayo itaenda chini kwa sababu lazima atalipa hiyo 5%. So hii ndio mambo inafanyika huko America. Share na rafiki yako mwenye kwa America, wacha ajue hii inafanyika. Ndivyo ikiwa uko na ka project una run hapa Kenya na uko na pesa unaweza tuma kamalizike kabla hizi tax has just take effect, unaweza jisaidia before it is too late. Share with them.
Breaking news, USA is saying that they are not going to be friends with any African countries that involve themselves with China, like Kenya. Kenya, they have become so close. I don't know why. They are saying that they don't know why they have to go to China for everything. And I know why they mentioned Kenya. It's because there was a deal that was supposed to be made with France, but Kenya cancelled because France, they wanted their own condition. They changed the rules and they wanted to do the road according to their own condition. And Kenya, William Ruto was not willing to give up more money. This guy loved money so much, so he cancelled the deal. Then he took the deal to China. So I understand the West are fearing right now because Africa, they are involving themselves with Russia, China, and North Korea. These are the superpowers, and the West, they are scared because they don't understand why all this is happening. So they said either the countries stop involving themselves too much with China or just stay off. Now, they fear that they might lose control in Africa because Africans, they are uniting and they don't want that. Africa, they are all coming together looking for better countries, the superpower countries, to protect them from the West, and the West, they don't want this.
Tonight we begin with a diplomatic rift between Kenya and the United States following President William Ruto's pro-China remarks during his visit to Beijing last month. The comments, widely interpreted as a shift in Nairobi's foreign policy, have sparked concern in Washington, with the U.S. Senate now pushing for a review of America's strategic relations with Kenya. Stephen Leto reports.
President Ruto's remarks at Peking University, one of China's most prestigious institutions, have sent ripples all the way to the U.S. Senate, where a group of American legislators is now demanding a thorough review of the United States' relationship with Kenya. During his visit to Beijing, President Ruto described China as far more than just a trade partner, casting Kenya and China as co-architects of a new world order. His remarks alluded to the emerging geopolitical shifts advanced by global power players like China and Russia, signaling a potential realignment of Kenya's foreign policy on the international stage.
Kenya and China are not merely trade partners. We are co-architects of a new world order, one that is fair, inclusive, and sustainable.
President Ruto's remarks come on the heels of his May 2024 trip to the United States, where Washington granted Kenya the status of a major non-NATO ally, a designation that deepened bilateral ties. But now, U.S. Senator Jim Rich, chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, is urging caution. He says America must exercise restraint with African nations like Kenya that continue to maintain close ties with China, warning of potential strategic challenges ahead.
Many African nations maintain troubling ties with China, including key national security partners. Just last month, President Ruto declared that Kenya, a major non-NATO ally, and China are co-architects of a new world order.
Ruto's trip to the United States and Kenya's designation as a major non-NATO ally promised Nairobi privileged access to sophisticated military equipment, training programs, and loans to strengthening its defense capabilities. But all these strategic benefits now hang in the balance as the U.S. Senate calls for a review of Kenya-U.S. relations, a move that could jeopardize years of defense cooperation and diplomatic gains.
It's time to reassess our relationship with Kenya and others who forge tight bonds with China. And it isn't just an embracement of China, but also the, quote, new world order, end quote.
During his trip to China, President Ruto maintained that Kenya's diplomatic approach is not to turn exclusively to the east or west, but rather to navigate strategically across the complex geopolitical tensions of east, west, north and south.
As the first African state visit to China this year mirrors my 2024 visit to the United States, the first African state visit there in 15 years. Perhaps, symbolically, Kenya can serve as a bridge between East and West, North and South, in an era of deepening geopolitical tensions.
Nairobi is yet to issue an official statement in response to the recent developments in Washington.
Kenyans have peculiar habits, you know. Here you have an election, time to register. Yeah. And then on the last day, there's a long lines to register. And then the government announces an extension. And everybody goes home.
And wait till the other
last day. Come on.
And shifting focus to East Africa, it looks like there's no end to Kenyan President William Ruto's controversies and criticism. His latest state visit to Beijing is now under scrutiny from the United States Senate. Lawmakers in Washington are raising questions about President Ruto's allegiance, just months after Kenya was designated a major non-NATO ally by the US. The scrutiny follows Ruto's speech at Peking University last month, where he reportedly described the current global system as quote-unquote broken and no longer fit for purpose. Ruto further said that Kenya and China were so-called architects of new fairer order.
In a world where globalization is no longer an option, but an existential imperative, any polarization is undesirable, unnecessary, and untenable.
Those comments have now prompted a sharp response from U.S. senators. On Tuesday, the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee held a special session on East Africa, where lawmakers, including Senator James Risch, has asked whether Kenya's alignment is shifting.
Many African nations maintain troubling ties with China, including key national security partners. Just last month, President Ruto declared that Kenya a major non-NATO ally and China are co-architects of a new world order. That's not just alignment to China, it's allegiance.
Risch further warned that relying on leaders who openly embrace Beijing could be a strategic mistake, and suggested it may be time to reevaluate America's relationship with Kenya.
We must stop building U.S. policy in Africa around individual leaders and instead focus on strengthening institutions, expanding private sector ties, and empowering the region's young and dynamic populations.
The U.S. maintains substantial economic and security interests in East Africa. Kenya was designated a major non-NATO ally under former President Joe Biden, a status that comes with preferential access to military equipment, training, and defense loans. The U.S. has also partnered with Kenya in counter-terrorism operations in Somalia. But in recent years, Nairobi has grown closer to Beijing, which, through its Belt and Road Initiative, has been funding crucial infrastructure projects across Kenya. During his state visit to China in April, Ruto described the two countries as all-weather strategic cooperative partners and reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to the One China principle.
Your Excellency, Kenya-China relations, a relationship deeply rooted in a historic, resilient, and all-weather friendship that has endured the test of time.
Coincidentally, while the Senate hearing was underway in Washington, President Ruto was hosting a Chinese delegation at State House, discussing ways to boost Kenyan tea exports to the Chinese market. Meanwhile, Ruto's ruling party, the United Democratic Alliance, is also reportedly deepening ties with China's Communist Party, a growing political alignment that's only adding to concerns in Washington. And despite Kenya's status as a U.S. security partner, its deepening engagement with Beijing is now forcing a bigger question. Is Nairobi still firmly on America's side, or is it looking east?
Wakenya tukuwe serious. Umeona hiyo interview ya Rigiji kwa Obina? Wachana hiyo interview yote, mimi niko hapo kwa 3 to 4 trillion.
God have mercy upon us.
Na kuna wewe unasema 10 bila break, 10 bila break. Na ukishika kitingishwa vizuri hivi kitu inazotoka kwa hiyo mfuko ni ID peke yake.
How do you say that?
What Wakili is saying, that is the way.
You agree to it?
I agree.
You've taken your time to...
Yes, I've read it.
Actually, we have done this mathematics here.
You're convinced?
Yeah.
Yes, because
what?
in is a specific period of time. Okay. In. So in the 5th year, it says here, section 136(2)(a, being the 2nd Tuesday in August in every 5th year. In every 5th. It's not at the end of, you finish year. 5 years and then you now do an election. It says in
within
the 2nd Tuesday. So the 5th year is between, we were doing our calculations here, 9th of August 2026 to 8th of August 2027.
And you want to say that the last day of the 5th year cannot be in?
No, but it's specific.
The first, second
Tuesday
of August.
August.
All right. So this one falls on 2026.
That's
Yes.
correct. You see, because the 5th year runs, it's not it's not a calendar year, January to December. It is, it cuts across August 26 to August 27. So within there, that is the 5th year. So within, and if we understand the meaning of the term in, it is in that time of between that August to the other August of 2027 is when the election must take place.
We're not coming to the streets because there's anyone who wants your job really. We're coming to the streets because it's scary that you are in office. It is. You told Uhuru, usiue watoto wangu. And then you've sent your cops to watoto wa wengine.
Yeah.
The God you serve will visit you.
That's true.
Very well. You told people, hii government ni ya mwananchi. Mwananchi has the chance to fire and to hire. And then here you are, killing mwananchi, threatening mwananchi, abducting children. You know, you're fighting with kids. Presidents have fought big things by the way.
But you're fighting with
You're
children.
fighting with the children of the nation.
Yeah.
These things should call you to reflect and talk to your advisors like a man. Say it with your chest. Guys, can we find a solution?
Someone is saying that Raila should not be touched. This is the first person that should go home. Raila worked with Moi, he worked with Kibaki, he worked with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. As per now, he's the pocket of William Samoei Ruto. He's the same person who suspended Ruto in 2008 when Ruto was in the Ministry of Agriculture and he sold 7 billion. Raila suspended him. He didn't return those money. As per now, they're working together. Kenya cannot even be redeemed by Raila Amolo Odinga. Kenya cannot be redeemed by William Samoei Ruto because he has messed. Kenya cannot be redeemed with the Rigathi Gachagua and the likes. Yes. We as Genesis, we have 16 million votes and we are not afraid. I want to tell you for free, we are coming one-on-one to meet these people. Bro, coming 2027, this guy used churches in 2022. He gave pastors something small. He gave them some sweets. Pastors gave in and campaigned for him in churches. He came to Mama Mboga. He knew Mama Mboga is having votes because he's having customers. Can lure for them some small fish, some omena. By 2027, Gen Z have a candidate which is going to meet William Samoei Ruto. But these cocoons, they are gathering together. Nothing.
As we believe that those who aspire for leadership should be discussing how to liberate this country economically. Okay. How do you change the lives of our people? Because of what need is it if I'm going to discuss with someone about forming a coalition? And yet, they were part of the odious debt that is strangling this nation. Will they agree to us declaring this debt odious and saying we are not going to pay any debt that was taken illegally, that didn't fund any single project in Kenya? Will they agree to such a conversation? They will not. So let them do their thing. We will market ourselves to the people of Kenya. Our house is self-contained. We have our president candidate, Jimmy Wanjigi, and I'm here, running mate, Willis Otieno. So what are we negotiating with them?
So for you don't even have to think about who is the flag bearer, who is the...
Our house is self-contained. It's settled, it's self-contained. We are talking to the people, and we are doing enough that the people will see in the fullness of time. We don't have to react to what other people are doing. Let them also do their game. We are also doing our own game. Safina Party is purely about economic liberation of the nation. Let every campaign define what they represent. Because as we believe, the space that we occupy, it's about the economic emancipation of our people. It's not about positions for individuals. You saw ODM, as some of them shouting loud that now they want to be given positions in William Ruto administration. That is their right. They can go and get those positions. Because then they believe that leadership is about positions for individuals. We are not in that space. And we cannot caucus with anybody who is discussing leadership of this nation on the basis of positions to individuals. We have a running president and his running mate. We have an agenda. Our agenda is about economic liberation of the people of Kenya. And we invite Kenyans to get into this economic discussion space. Because of what value is it that if Mbadi is on the table, all laws are full. If Oparanya is on the table, all lawyers are full. That's the politics that they know. That William Ruto eats for all Kalenjins. That is what the traditional politicians know. As we are not in that space, as we believe everybody should be rich, the government should come up with policies that enables the individual, wherever he is, to be able to get economic emancipation. But when Mbadi is sitting there and they are taking illegal loans in the name of the people of Kenya, how does that enrich the poor Luo man in Sindo Beach, in Omabe? What it means is that now Mbadi must also come up, after taking that loan, he will come up with a new finance bill that increases the taxes, charges, and levies for that poor man in Sindo. That man who is crying about economic pain, they are going to ask him to pay more in taxes.
But Mbadi said that is not the case this time.
Write it down. The finance bill is coming soon. They are going to increase taxes, charges, and levies. It is coming. Write it down. That I swear. They are going to increase your taxes, charges, and levies, whether you like it or not. But he can say all he wants to say. But your taxes are going up. But your earning has not increased.
Is it a must that the government has to come up with another finance bill?
But they have to finance their budget. How will they finance it? Already they have told you that their budget for this coming financial year is going to be 4.7 trillion. Yeah. So how will they finance it? Their collections today, on average, on revenue, you are averaging 160 billion per month. Your collections are barely hitting 2.1 trillion. Your debt finance for this year was going to be 1.9 trillion. Next year, your debt payment is at 2.1 trillion. You have a budget of 4.7 trillion. So tell me, how will you finance it without raising taxes? Because it's financed from people's money. So they have to come back to you and ask you to collect, to pay. Yeah.
Range Rover
$430,000.
$180,000.
Lexus LX 600
$300,000.
$150,000.
LC 300
$200,000.
$100,000.
Toyota Fortuner
$80,000.
$35,000.
Prado 250
$130,000.
$65,000.
I am the president of Kenya, but the president doesn't hold up.
Dissolve! Finish him.
Matiang'i has never been the candidate of any young people. I'm shocked someone thinks Matiang'i is the candidate of any young person. Yeah. We know Matiang'i as the strongman of the Jubilee regime that put this country in extreme crazy debt, as the guy who occupied the office of the deputy president during the Jubilee regime. We know him as the strongman internal security minister. We know him for the Ruaraka land saga. No one knows Matiang'i for any good. Yes, exactly. And the killings during COVID and all of those things. So anyone who thinks Matiang'i is a savior, lost.
Yeah.
Kenyans, hawa ndio wakombozi. Same old monkeys, baboons, gorillas, different forests.
Mama yangu, game over.
Na vitu zina happen in country ikifika 2027 na uko 18 plus tukupate bila kura. Utatuambia unaishi wapi? Utatuambia unataka nani apeleke Ruto nyumbani?
So guys, kitu must go hajui, sasa tumechangamka. Tunangoja finance bill.
tutokea 1 year anniversary. 1 year. Anza kutafuta bendera na firimbi kwenye ulieka. Tafungua store. Because, get ready. Tumechangamsha piga pre-game.
Kiongozi wa Kenya Kwanza ni nani? Ni Ruto. Kwa hivyo shetani katika hii Kenya ni nani? Ni Ruto. Na ueleze mpaka jirani yako, ueleze mtoto wako, ueleze mjukuu wako aelewe kwamba shetani wa Kenya ni nani? Ni Ruto. Kwa hivyo kila siku asubuhi ukiamka unasema ashindwe.
Huyu Ruto mumwambie tumechoka naye. Kama inatakana tubadilishe katiba ni kupunguza miaka ya Ruto, sio kuongeza atifike 7. We cannot wait to get an opportunity kutuma huu mtu nyumbani kwa sababu kazi imemshinda. Ruto tunataka kwanza kupunguza term yake. Kama ingewezekana hii mwaka ingeisha kama huyu mtu amekaa kwa kiti. Aende nyumbani, kazi imemshinda.
You like me, why them a fight me? You like me, chewing a bomb, bite it.
TJ, bomb them, never stop.
We don't trust them even if we bust them. We don't trust them, stay far, not touch them. We don't trust them, we'll be a man and sub them. Informer, me say you must them.